Sunday. It is 1:46 p.m., which is relatively early for me. And it is February the 5th. And today I want to talk multiverse. And I want to get right into it because I know that there are a lot of people that are curious about the multiverse. And I wanted to give my perspective of the way it looked and, talk about some of the differences between our 3D reality and some of the places that I visited. Now, an experience that I had earlier this morning actually inspired this, but I'm not going to get into that experience at this moment. I'm going to really kind of get into the multiverse in general. I will record that as a separate episode of an experience that I had. It was relatively brief, but it did inspire this episode. So in my travels, I have seen, I guess, a lot. But I know, and I have the realization that in my lifetime, I will not be able to see every version that there is out there because I believe that it is infinite. So I will tell you and talk about the places that I've been, contrast them, and talk about the big differences. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the a place or two that I've been to that are going to sound very familiar to you. You're probably going to think of things you may have seen in television shows and in movies. And this was probably, for me, the closest that I came to that. Now, one of my early experiences was an experience I had when I traveled to a different version of my apartment. Now, I was traveling in darkness as I normally would, and then the darkness lifted, and I was standing and facing a wall that looked freshly painted to me. It was the first thing that I saw. Now, one of the things I did was I put my hand against the wall to steady myself. This is something that happens. It's an issue that occurs with me to be able to balance myself after I arrive in a place. I normally feel a bit shaky, a little off balance. This may have to do with the fact that my frequency hasn't completely matched as of yet, and it's coming to the point where it's going to match. And once it does match, I feel steady. So I'm looking at a wall at first, and then I look to my right, and I see a woman, and she is reaching into a dishwasher. She has on jeans, a shorter woman. I believe she had dark hair. Now, I want you to know that I have never lived with a woman. I've never been married, and I don't have any kids. And that's relevant because when I saw this woman, I felt that the connection with her was probably somebody either I was living with or that I was married to, which wasn't a thing in my present reality. So when I saw her, the first thing I said was, "Excuse me," but that was the only thing I could really get out. I was feeling a little confused. Again, this was early on, guys. This was early on in my experiences, and I was still trying to get used to things. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what is this? What's going on? I see this woman. Again, I feel inside that I know her, that I have a sense that I have a connection with her, but at the same time, the 3D me that lives here right now in this reality is like, no, I don't know this person. So there's that. So I start kind of trying to approach her, and as this is happening, there's a knock at the door, and she says something like, "I'll get it, honey, sweetheart," something like that. I got it. So as she's walking toward the door, I am again following her, and my plan is to ask her, "What is this? What's going on?" And as she's opening the door, I feel myself get pulled back, and I'm back in this 3D reality. Before I'm able to see who those people were, though I'm speculating that these were probably her parents. It's just a feeling, it's a thought, and they were coming over to visit. So that is an example of what you might consider to be um, an experience that a lot of people might perceive. Like they might think this is the way the multiverse is. You're going to go to a place where maybe you made different choices. And so you're going to see, if you're single, you're married in that different reality or that different universe. If you're married, you're single in that different universe, that sort of thing. So that's something more familiar. But I also, at one point, traveled to a place that was, well, when the darkness lifted, I first saw all these seats and they were all these different colors. And I had this sense that I was in a courtroom because I could see what I thought was a judge's bench way off in the distance with sort of an emblem there, but it was way off. This looked like it could have been perhaps a hybrid of a church and a courtroom. That's all I can really say. And there were people sitting down, going through the rows, and they were sitting down all around me. And I was a little bit confused about what I was seeing because it just looked strange to me. And then I got outside. And then once I got outside, I noticed that, it was a strip mall. Again, very strange because the courtrooms in the US don't normally have strip malls near them. And the other thing was that I believe there was a cave somewhere in there, and there were people coming out of there, which was really weird. And I remember I caught up to one woman who I thought looked friendly enough. And then I asked her, again, this was early on, and this is something that I normally asked, although I would imagine it would probably sound weird to those folks because it would sound weird to us if someone said, hey, what is this world called? But I asked this person, what is this world called? And this person said, Tehran. But they said it in a tone that I did not recognize. It was a tone that was so foreign to me, so strange to me, that I did not realize or recognize what it was. And so this was a very interesting thing to me because I would have thought that people in other parallel universes would sound just like us. They would have the same sound to their voice. Maybe they would speak different languages, but there would be Spanish and all these other different things. Maybe there would be, I don't know. Maybe there would be different countries from what we know already. Who knows? But I didn't think of the fact that they would have a completely different tone to their voice. And that was something to me that stood out. And the juxtaposition or the sort of, putting these things together like a courtroom, a church, a strip mall, all these things together, it was just confusing, guys. It really, truly was. But I have also been to some fantastic places that are just amazing and that are difficult to grasp. And that's the other thing. I never would have thought that there were places that were so out there, that were so different than our 3D reality, that I would have trouble grasping them with my mind. That was something I don't think I would ever have thought of, but I have been to places like that. For example, I once went to a subterranean city. Now, this is something that I posted on this channel. And I remember as I was walking through this city, there were, buildings, high rises, things like that. I started talking to this young girl. Now, at first, the language I was hearing in this place was, it wasn't understandable. I didn't understand it, never heard a language like that. But then this young girl had said something about the fact that they spoke English, which that's what she was speaking to make me feel more comfortable. That was basically what she was getting at. So I was curious. I followed her around and I said, would it be possible for you? Because I first asked her if what I was looking at was her true form. And she said, no. Again, this was something to make me or people who would visit feel more comfortable. And I said, is it possible that you could show me your true form? So at first she was a little confused, like, I don't know why you would want me to do that. But then she began to transform and she became transparent. In fact, I remember that she told me that they were hollow. That was, I believe, the word that she used, or the word that I heard through translation. Because on many occasions with these experiences, I believe my mind is translating many things that are happening, whether it be visuals or languages or whatever. So she tells me that she's hollow, and then she begins to transform. And through her, I can see stars, I can see space, I could see galaxies. It was so amazing, so extraordinary. And so you have that experience, which is so far beyond what I would have thought, an experience like this would be when you would travel to a different reality or another universe or whatever. This was something so extraordinary to me. But this is why I tell you guys, you have to have an open mind when you are doing this. And I'm going to continue. I mean, this won't be the last video where I talk about the multiverse and the way that it looks. Because again, I think that a lot of people are curious and interested. And again, these are also my experiences, with the fact that the multiverse is infinite. You may have completely different experiences and may visit completely different places. But I think that regardless, that it's important for you to have an open mind. It really, truly is, because I have seen so many things. I'm just right now with these experiences I've talked with you about, I'm just really just scratching the surface of all this. And if you've been listening to my channel for any amount of time and you have watched many videos, you will know that each of my experiences, for the most part, like 98, 99% of them are completely unique. Each one is different. And, I prefer it that way. I love exploration. I love going to different places. It is just amazing, and getting to know the beings out there and, seeing all these different landscapes. It's just, extraordinary. Anyway. I hope that you enjoyed this Sunday episode. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, take care.